Hey space explorers, and welcome back to our channel. Ever look up at the night sky and wonder what it would be like to stand on another planet? It's a beautiful thought, but the reality is that the cosmos can be a pretty harsh place. Today, we're taking an imaginary, and very safe, journey through our solar system to understand why Earth is so special. We'll explore what would happen to the human body on each planet without our advanced space suits. This is purely a thought experiment to appreciate the extreme environments out there. So let's jump in our imaginary spaceship and blast off. First stop, the planet closest to the Sun, Mercury. You might think the biggest problem is the heat, and you're not wrong. On the sunny side, temperatures can soar to a scorching 430 degrees Celsius. You'd be incinerated in an instant, but Mercury has no real atmosphere to hold that heat. So, if you were on the dark side, you'd face the opposite problem, temperatures plunging to minus 180 degrees Celsius. You'd freeze solid just as quickly, but before either of those things happened, the lack of air pressure would be the immediate issue. With virtually no atmosphere, all the air in your lungs would be ripped out, and the liquids in your body would start to boil away in a matter of seconds. Not a pleasant start to our tour. Alright, let's hop over to our sister planet, Venus. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? Well, don't let the name fool you. Venus is a perfect example of a runaway greenhouse effect. Its atmosphere is incredibly thick, about 90 times denser than Earth's, and it's made up almost entirely of carbon dioxide. The atmospheric pressure on the surface would be like being nearly a kilometer deep in the ocean. It would crush you instantly, but let's say, somehow, you could withstand that pressure. The temperature is a consistent, blistering 465 degrees Celsius, even hotter than Mercury. And if that wasn't enough, the clouds are made of sulfuric acid. So, you'd be simultaneously crushed, roasted, and dissolved. Venus is definitely not a vacation spot. Next up, the red planet, Mars. This is humanity's next big goal for exploration. But without a suit, it's still incredibly dangerous. Mars has a very thin atmosphere, less than 1% of Earth's pressure. Just like on Mercury, this near vacuum would cause the air in your body to expand rapidly and your body fluids to boil. This process is called ebullition. While it's often shown in movies as people exploding, that's not quite right. Your skin is elastic enough to hold you together, but you would swell up significantly. The temperature is also a major factor. The average is a chilly minus 60 degrees Celsius. So, while you're dealing with the lack of pressure, you'd also be freezing to death. You could probably survive for a minute or two, but it would be a very uncomfortable end. This is why our future Martian explorers will need some seriously advanced habitats and suits. Now we're heading to the outer solar system. And first up is the king of planets, Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant, which means it doesn't have a solid surface to stand on. So, what would happen? You would just fall, and fall, and fall. As you descend into its massive atmosphere, composed mainly of hydrogen and helium, the pressure and temperature would increase dramatically. You'd be buffeted by winds screaming at over 600 kilometers per hour. As you fell deeper, the intense pressure would compress the gases into a liquid and eventually, a strange metallic state. Long before you reached that point, your body would be torn apart by the turbulence and then utterly crushed by the immense pressure. It's a one-way trip into an endless, violent storm. Let's glide over to the jewel of the solar system, Saturn. Like Jupiter, Saturn is a gas giant with no solid surface. The experience would be very similar, a long, turbulent fall through an atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. Saturn is famous for its winds, which are some of the fastest in the solar system, reaching up to 1,800 kilometers per hour near the equator. You'd be ripped to shreds by these supersonic winds. As you plunge deeper, the pressure would build, and the temperature would rise. Eventually, you'd be crushed and vaporized. The beautiful rings wouldn't offer any comfort. They're made of ice and rock particles, and flying through them at orbital speeds would be like getting sandblasted by a cosmic hurricane. Our next destination is the sideways planet, Uranus. This ice giant is a strange and frigid world. Like the other gas giants, you'd begin by falling through its atmosphere, which is mostly hydrogen, helium, and a bit of methane that gives it its pale blue color. The upper atmosphere, one of the coldest places in the solar system, with temperatures dropping to minus 224 degrees Celsius. You would freeze almost instantly. If you survived the initial cold shock, you'd continue your descent into crushing pressures and bizarre weather systems. Scientists believe it might even rain diamonds deep inside Uranus, but you would be long gone before you ever saw such a spectacle. The combination of extreme cold and crushing pressure makes for a swift and unforgiving end. Finally, we arrive at the last official planet in our solar system, Neptune. This dark, cold, and windy world is another ice giant. Dying on Neptune would be a similar story to Uranus, but even more extreme. Neptune boasts the fastest winds in the solar system, with gusts measured at over 2,000 kilometers per hour. You would be torn apart by these ferocious winds while simultaneously freezing in its minus 214 degrees Celsius atmosphere. As you fall deeper, the pressure would become unimaginable, compressing your body into nothingness. Neptune is a beautiful, deep blue world from a distance, but up close, it's one of the most violent and inhospitable places imaginable. A truly final frontier. So, what have we learned from our tour? We've seen that, without the protection of a spacesuit, survival on any other planet in our solar system is impossible, and the end would come in a matter of moments, whether by burning, freezing, crushing, or being torn apart. This journey really highlights how incredibly precious and unique our own planet is. Earth exists in that perfect Goldilocks zone, with a substantial atmosphere, liquid water, and stable temperatures that allow life to flourish. Every other world we know, a beautiful but a deadly reminder of the cosmic lottery we've won. It's a call to appreciate and protect our amazing home. Thanks so much for joining us on this cosmic thought experiment. I hope it gave you a new perspective on our place in the universe. If you enjoyed this journey and want to explore more wonders of space with us, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which cosmic topic you'd like us to dive into next. Until then, keep looking up